Hello everyone, it's Mike again, and I'm sorry I'm recording this on my phone again, which is terrible quality. I still can't, for the life of me, figure out why the permissions of my microphone aren't working on my headset. Not sure. This has happened a couple of times before, and I don't remember how I figured it out that time. But okay, so you get this horrible audio today. I've been trying to come up with this video for at least a month now, but never got around to actually editing anything. So here's the point. You all know by now that I moved out on my own into my own apartment about 2 years ago, and as such, I've been able to get a certain amount of I don't know how to call it, maybe it's freedom under my me and lessen the restrictions of doing things. Obviously, physically, things are still just as difficult, but I now have someone in my life who, dare I say the F word, an actual friend, and she, well, at least I think that she kind of is, helps me with like safety, shopping, transfers, whatever else I need at the point. The point is that she's also been able to get me out of my shell a little bit, as stupid as it sounds, and basically we already went in these 2 years to more places together and much further than I have in the years before, and frankly, with even my parents, I've been living with them for over 30 years. So, as an example, I've been to New York City last year, and this year we both decided to take a flight out to Cali, which when it got chilly here in the Northeast. But now the reason we picked San Francisco is because her brother actually works there, and she's been there a few times, visiting him. So I knew I could have something here as far as someone who knows a bit of the city and also is gonna be safe enough, to travel with. So now I picked specifically this week out of all the weekends that I traveled on because um, it was the auto show that week in San Francisco, and I kind of went to the auto show in New York City too a year ago, so it's kind of becoming my thing now. When I go places, I kind of time it to be there at the same time as the auto show, happens. But I also did some Googling and put down on paper months in advance, what was going to happen when making even reservations at the restaurants, ahead of time. I was in DC once on a day trip, and I mean, the restaurant was stuffed. It's like 2 blocks from the White House, so it's going to be stuffed. And if I didn't make that reservation ahead of time, I'd have been screwed. So, but the point is, I mapped out some things and I had fun, which I will briefly summarize in this video right now. And I promise this isn't gonna be like a boring slideshow of Patty and Selma's trip to Egypt or some shit where I forgot where they went that one time. But now, an interesting side of it is being physically extremely disabled. I haven't flown on an airplane in a very, very long time. Certainly not after I got this power chair. Hell, the last time I was on an airplane was in 1994 when I came over from Russia. So you can imagine I was a bit uneasy and about my power chair safety. So because they broke some poor sod's baby stroller taking it out of the airplane. So I knew there was a chance they could hurt my wheelchair, and I was kind of worried about it. But the point is that I went out with someone that I trust completely, and I was able to do most of the things that I wanted on that trip. So here's item one. This wheelchair thing they strap you to, it's called a aisle chair to get you on an airplane because, liability reasons. It's extremely narrow as the airplanes, are basically kettle cars. And I was strapped down. I was laughing my ass off, and I took this picture. I said, this picture needs to be taken, and I was all like, hello, Clarice. and it was fun. The flight was super long and cramped, and that it beats flying Delta though, because it's basically like being strapped to the wings of the airplane. But it was all right. Just extremely boring and long, as I said. Now the issue that is. We spent a ton of time at the airport trying to figure out how to get to the hotel because there's no Uber in San Fran. They don't allow Ubers near the airport, which is a moot point because there's no accessible Uber vans in that feckless city at all. So, um, apparently, as the driver of one explained to me, the accessible Uber drivers need to be trained as technically a medical transport. So, no one actually wants to do it. Taxis aren't accessible either, and I wouldn't for the life of me find the bus stop. So yes, and yes, I know all about the BART train and all that shit and the subway, but you have to understand, I nearly got dead already where I live in Philly when I got stuck that one time on the in the gap, between the train and the platform. My wheelchair got stuck, and the gap on the BART train was about twice the size. So, uh, you know, but all that aside, we finally got to the hotel at 3 a.m. Uh, half dead, and I was never so happy to see a bar in my life. I ate that burger faster than I eat ass, and I eat ass like a hungry hippo. Now the whole thing was very posh, the hotel and the restaurant and the hotel, um, but they didn't have a coffee maker in the room. They had an espresso machine. That's how classy it was, which I promptly tried out. Made obvious fun of it, you know, in a snooty kind of way. Food was great. Service was too. Thankfully, the bathroom was big and accessible. The only thing is when I opened the so-called forbidden drawer, you know the one I mean, the one that has like $15 peanuts in it and a $35 bottle holder. I said to my woman, "You touch anything here and you're dead, because I can't afford this shit." So what does she do? Obviously, she opens a $40 bottle of wine as soon as we come in, and I'm like, I swear to God, this is why men live much shorter lives, because women fucking, kill us. But the awesome thing about the hotel, besides everything, was that they had a free, what's it called, the arcade machine in the lobby, and it didn't need quarters, obviously. And I played Donkey Kong on it every chance I got. We played Pac-Man together. We had a bunch of cocktails with my dinner, usually. More on that later. I always somehow managed to pick the right kind of cocktail and dinner out of all the bad ones, but it was fun. Obviously, this being San Francisco, I had to go see Alcatraz because, I'm right there. So we took a ferry out in the cold, gray, windy, rainy weather, which was completely apropos for their location. I think, if you ask me, I listened to the audio tour and constantly chased by women around who ran off every chance she got. But it was fun, if nothing else. On the it was very gray, dark, rainy, and exactly the kind of weather you would expect to go to see Alcatraz on. And on the last day, we went to see the seals at Fisherman's Wharf, and completely and unexpectedly, I took us on another boat tour when I was passing it, and thought, hell, why not? The ship leaves in like 15 minutes, so I just got on there and, with the wheelchair, and yeah, it was alright. Then we had a very fancy dinner next day, went to the other show, and which was right across the road from us. Honestly, the other show was crap. Even powerhouses like Mercedes and BMW snubbed it for a much larger auto show in LA, which was going on about the same time, and obviously didn't know that, but we still went at that time because, that's how things panned out. Another day we went to a prison escape room, which was more fun than I actually expected, frankly. I solved most of the things myself because I obviously were the brains in the family, and we were very nearly out of time We were nearly, out when the time ran out. I think if I would have had 10, 15 more minutes, I would have eventually figured it out. Went to a Chinese restaurant and drank something called a Japanese tea martini. Interesting stuff. It tastes exactly how it sounds, like a tea with alcohol. But in the hotel, I had much, much better cocktails, and they were freaking awesome. Then I took her to the zoo because that's the place she wanted to go, and I figured, why the hell not? So, do the one thing that you want to do. We had a tough time returning from the zoo, though. Again, there's no accessible Uber, like I just said, and I refused to run the subway for fear of becoming hamburger. Like I said, I got stuck on the L once. So basically, only reasonable choice here is the bus. And bus drivers, and the bums, oi, it's a nuisance. I went on a hilarious, uh, I mean, uh, this was fun once. I go to the bus stop right after the zoo, and rather we both run to the bus stop not to miss the bus, and there's the bus, right? And I say, because unlike Philly, I really don't know how the buses, where they go here. I had to rely on Google, and I say to the bus driver just to make sure, I say, do you stop at this and this? And she goes, oh, I don't know, it's my first day. And I almost burst out laughing. I mean, they train you, don't they, Christ? So I look at the bus number again and the Google, it says to me, and I go to her, yes, you stop at this and this. And she goes, I do? Well, okay then, and puts down the ramp, and I got in. But, the funniest thing I did, as always, on the last night, no, not that, not what you're thinking of, the other thing, simply because I ran out of money, or I would have done that too, obviously. So what we did is I reserved this bar. Christ only knows why, since it was emptier than a church next to a whorehouse. But I reserved it, and in we went. At first, I'm like, ew, place is not clean, smells, and no table is low enough. By that time, my wheelchair's elevator is broken. I can't elevate. So, I'm still waiting on that replacement, by the way. But by then, I've been to a strip club, and I'm stoned a little, drunk, and I go, why not? I'll just stay here, and I don't want to go anywhere else, so just eat something. Now, I made a good choice because this little wiry and kind of young Chinese dude jumps out, and sort of starts all these shenanigans, right? Making jokes, telling stories, prancing, dancing around, whatever, constantly joking, laughing at us, poking fun, all sorts of shit. And the guy looked straight sort of like the out of touch design of a teen you could picture in like the Fast and Furious 2 Tokyo Drift movie. So he even had a hat on crooked. So I decided to get a cocktail and enjoy the shenanigans of his, and giggled my way through the evening. But that's not all, because if it wasn't, there wouldn't be this video. So somehow I mentioned it was my birthday a few weeks back, and you're gonna laugh at this. So one thing leads to another, and I've already got about 2 cocktails in me. By that point, I'm slightly toasted and a little drunk, and I'm already a little bit happier. I shouldn't say happy because I have bad clinical depression. And we wind up doing shots with this guy, and birthday shots, obviously. So, L'chaim.
Thank yes. You. Yes. And come here. We got pour some champagne. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. And here, look up. Yeah. Look up, yeah. You got it.
But on the background of this video, which I'm going to show in a second, you're going to hear the woman laughing, and sorry for the quality. I don't have the patience for people with iPhones, much less shitty ones. So I go L'chaim, right, and slam the shot glass, and he pours he pours some champagne in me. Now, by then, I'm pretty well bollocksed, and on the way out, I spot this. Oh, God, this is gonna be fun. Um, I spot this entire wall in the bar, and it's basically all blackboard, right? And it has a ton of stuff written on it, and I have what the alcoholics refer to as a moment of clarity. Uh, my daddy taught me to draw a cat's butt. It's probably the only good thing he taught me so far. And I asked the guy for a piece of chalk, right? And I decided to leave my stamp on there. I also left one at the hotel, but I always leave cat butts wherever I go. It's right too. It's kind of like my Kilroy was here, you know. I always draw a cat butt. So, and then you say, well, this video cannot get any better. But it can, I say. So, this being a legal state, I decide not to schlep my weed across TSA and state lines and, you know, get arrested and shit. Which, by the way, I mean, I was fucking, I stank when I got out of there, when I was leaving at the airport, and the TSA guy comes up to me to, you know, kind of pat me down and everything. And he just kind of sniffs the air around me, because I stink by that point, you know, of weed. And he goes, oh, yeah. So he knew what was up. I mean, everyone's fucking smoking, so that's not the point, though. I decided to find a dispensary, right, which it turns out was actually a couple blocks from the damned hotel. So I didn't even have to schlep that long, to, you know, to get there. So I get one of these pre-rolled blunts, as the kids say, and, you know, for scientific reasons, obviously. Now, the thing is, up to this point, I only vaped. Because I think smoking is a filthy habit. It stinks, it creates smoke, it needs fire, which with my fingers, you know, just ain't happening. So I get this pre-rolled blunt and a cheapo lighter, which I later forgot in my bag accidentally and got through TSA somehow. I don't even know how that should happen. But I got the blunt, right? And I'll be honest with you, it didn't really make an impact on me. Like, I also bought a cookie, you know, an edible. And I tried edibles and blunts a couple times before, and they didn't really get me, you know, as stoned as vaping always did. I'm not sure why, but it's just, all this did was give me a headache and made me forget to look out on the boat tour when I was doing the Fisherman's Wharf thing, you know, bridge to bridge tour, Oakland to Golden Gate Bridge. And I was like, I was in my own world by that time. I was stoned, and I had listened to this audio tour headset, and I'm looking out the side of the ship, right? And they're talking about something, and I'm just stoned out of my head. And then I turn around. Oh shit! We're right in front of Alcatraz, and we have been for like 15 minutes while the audio tour has been going on. So I fucking forgot that. But you know, that was the most that had happened. It was a once in a lifetime experience. I had a red eye flight on the way back because the bastards changed my flights, and after the airport, I was just buggered. I could not. I was fucking. It was very tiring. But the other than that, you know, it all seemed to work out. Obviously, in no small part, thanks to my friend. You know who you are, dear. Big ups to you. You know, representing. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and rate and share this video, or don't. You know, I don't really care what you do with it.